inspiration and support for caregivers. Exploring the heart of care.
Welcome back to CARECAST, where we are exploring the heart of care. My name is Jeremy Watkins, and I am your host. Today I want to talk about something that we as heart-centered leaders rarely admit out loud. It's about the moment when a client leaves your agency, and instead of feeling sad, you feel relieved. And then immediately after that relief, you feel guilty. I want to start with something I saw on LinkedIn the other day. It was a post about the importance of firing the quote-unquote non-ideal clients. Now, I'll be honest with you, my gut reaction to that was defensive. I actually felt a little pissed off. I thought, wait a minute, we are in home care. Why aren't we... we're not in this industry for comfort. We are here to serve people in their darkest, messiest moments. Who are we to say no just because a situation isn't quote-unquote ideal? I felt like saying no was a failure of the mission. But then I had to get real with myself. I had to look at my own experience over the last 3 years running Carosity. I thought about a specific client I had recently. I won't use her name, obviously, but this situation kept me up late at night, a lot of nights. I was constantly worried, not just about her health, but about how she was treating my caregivers. It was toxic. It was abusive. There was yelling. There was manipulation. It was heavy. Recently, she moved into a facility, and the moment I got the news, I didn't feel a sense of loss. I felt like I could finally breathe. My shoulders dropped about 2 inches. And then the guilt hit. I asked myself, does caring mean I have to be stressed? If I'm not suffering along with them, am I not caring enough? I think a lot of us believe that lie. We think that to care equals to stress. But here is the realization I came to. And I want you to write this down if you can. There is a difference between a client who is hard and a client who is harmful. A hard client has complex medical needs. Maybe they are grieving. Maybe the family dynamic is sad. That is the weight of care. We sign up for that. That is the job. We carry that weight because it matters. A harmful client is different. A harmful client is abusive to your staff. They are unsafe. They compromise the mental health of your team. That isn't weight. That is poison. And here's the truth I had to learn the hard way. You can carry weight, but you cannot carry poison. If you are a leader or a caregiver, a private caregiver, you have two responsibilities. You have a responsibility to the client, yes, but you have an equal, if not greater, responsibility to your caregivers, or if you're an independent caregiver, you have an equal responsibility for yourself. When we say yes to a toxic client because we are afraid of feeling mean, or we're afraid of losing revenue, we are actually saying to our staff, this money matters more than your dignity. And that is a hard pill to swallow. So if you are listening to this and you have that knot in your stomach when a certain client's name pops up on your phone, listen to that, okay? Ask yourself, is this hard or is this harmful? Because you can't, you can be a heart-centered owner and still have boundaries. Okay? In fact, boundaries are the only way you can protect your heart and your team for the long haul. Now, I know this was a short episode, but I just really wanted to get this out there since we are talking about the psychology of caregiving. I really had this thought, and I just wanted to put it out there because I feel like a lot of us struggle with that. A lot of private duty caregivers, family caregivers, and home care leaders such as myself. We deal with this. And in order to fix a problem, in order to handle this in the industry, it has to be called out for what it is. And what are the steps to take? Let's dive in just a little deeper. If you get to a point where you say, okay, this client is harmful, what can we do? You talk to the family if they have a POA. If they do not have a POA, if they don't have immediate family, talk to them on their own. If they are coherent, if they are semi-independent, but if not, if they are heavily dependent on your care, you need to call social services, APS, and get a social worker involved. There's no shame in this, because in doing that, you are protecting not only yourself, your company, and your caregivers, but you're also protecting that client. Because if you need to withdraw your service from that client because they are harmful to you and your caregivers, we have to have a backup plan. And that backup plan is to have other people involved in the care, such as family members, extended friends, and ultimately, adult protective services. Some sort of social worker, something that you can pull in and lean on during this difficult process. It's not going to be easy. It's probably going to be one of the hardest things that you'll ever have to do. But it's worth it, and it's necessary for you to recognize what is hard and what is harmful. We can handle the hard, okay? In this industry, if you can't handle the hard, then you have to get out of the industry, all right? But we cannot handle harmful, okay? No one can and no one should, all right? If you have a harmful home care client, then chances are that client really just does not need to be in their home, in my opinion, because they are going to need a higher level of care than just home care. Maybe there's some psychological care that needs to take place. I don't know. Whatever the unique situation is, prepare now for those situations. All right? Look at your past clients. Find those who were harmful and study those. What were the behaviors? What did the caregivers chart? Did the caregivers write complaints about that specific client? You know, what were the red flags? and take those red flags and generalize them. Okay. And if you are meeting with a new client, or if you take on a new client and suddenly there's red flags popping up, okay, that is the time to act. Because the moment you start receiving complaints from your caregivers that that particular client is harming them, that they are verbally abusive, being screamed at, having things thrown at them, called names, things like that, is absolutely not okay. All right? You have to put your foot down with that. It's not okay. And it's okay for you to stand in the front lines between your caregivers and your client. And it's okay to choose the safety and well-being of your caregivers from providing services for that particular client. So this last part wasn't really in the script or in the notes that I had prepared, but it just kind of came to me. But I really hope that this helped, and I really think that this really needs to be touched on a lot more, especially with home care owners. It's a heavy weight to bear as home care leaders, and something has to be done about it, because these people that are harmful need help that we can't provide them, and we have to figure out how we can get the help that they absolutely need. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Once again, my name is Jeremy Watkins, and you're listening to CARECAST, where we are exploring the heart of care.
CARECAST, exploring the heart of care. CARECAST, education, inspiration, and support for care.